Hello learners, we welcome you for this video lecture session. Today's topic is application of second law of thermodynamics and control volume formulation. This is the 14th module of the course Thermodynamics and its application. In our earlier discussions, we had discussed the control mass formulation for the second law of thermodynamics. Now we are going to discuss the application of second law of thermodynamics and control volume formulation. After listening to this video lecture, you will be able to explain the concept of control volume. You will be able to derive the control volume formulation for second law. You will be able to understand the concept of entropy generation in control volume, and you will be able to know the component efficiency of turbine and compressor, etc. You will also be able to appreciate the concept of entropy change for an isolated system. So let us begin our discussion. Before starting our discussion, let us have recapitulate of the control volume, which we have already discussed in our earlier session. Control volume is a fixed volume in space. It is also known as an open system. Outside the control volume, we call it surroundings. For control volume system, we consider that there is heat interactions in between system and the control volume. There may be work interactions in between system and surroundings, and mass can also enter into the control volume and also be able to leave from the control volume. Many systems are most conveniently analyzed as a system fixed in space which permits mass to cross the boundaries. Such system is defined to be a control volume or an open system. Control system, control volume and isolated systems. We have discussed these three important things several times. Now let us again discuss those topics or those important terms so that we can understand the topics which are coming next. Closed system, there may be heat and work interactions between system and surroundings, and for a closed system, mass is constant. Mass cannot leave the control system. For a control volume, the volume is fixed and it is encompassed by the boundary. Outside the boundary is known as surroundings. There may be work interactions in between system and surrounding for a control volume. There may be heat interactions in between control volume and surroundings, and there may be mass interactions in between system and surroundings. But for an isolated system, no interaction permissible. When you think of a control volume, let us see what will be the mass with reference to the conservation of mass principle. The change of mass within a control volume is equal to the mass entering minus the mass leaving. So for a control volume, if m dot in is the rate of mass entering into the control volume and m dot out is the rate of mass leaving out from the control volume, and if dou m Cv by dou T is the rate of mass accumulated within the control volume, is equal to m dot in minus m dot out. But for a steady state, we know the property will not change with time. So for a steady state, dou mCV by dou T is equal to 0. In that case, we can write for a steady state condition, m dot in is equal to m dot out. That means the rate of mass entering into the control volume is equal to the rate of mass leaving out from the control volume. Now let us talk about the conservation of energy principle for the control volume. The change in energy within a control volume is equal to the net energy transported to the control volume plus the heat transferred and the work done by the control volume. So here we see that E dot in is the rate of energy entering into the control volume, E dot out is the rate of energy leaving out from the control volume, W dot is the rate of work done by the system. Here it is control volume, that is considered as positive, and Q dot Cv is the rate of heat entering into the control volume. So for the energy conservation principle, we can write that dou E Cv by dou T is equal to E dot net plus Q dot Cv minus W dot. Here E dot net is equal to E dot in minus E dot out. That means E dot net is equal to the rate of energy entering into the control volume to the control surface, and E dot out is the rate of energy leaving out from the control volume to the control surface. So for a steady state, the property will not change with time. So E dot net plus Q dot Cv minus W dot is equal to 0. Control volume analysis permits mass to cross the boundary. This mass transfer carries the property entropy into and out of the volume. Therefore, the change in entropy within the control volume is modified by the mass transport. We have already discussed the control mass form of the second law of thermodynamics. This is the control volume statement of the second law. The change in entropy within the control volume minus the net entropy transported into the control volume is greater than or equal to the sum of the heat transfers divided by the corresponding boundary absolute temperature. Let S dot denote the rate at which entropy is transported with the fluid at the inlets and outlets, where the over dot indicates the rate of flow of entropy. The entropy within the control volume is denoted by SCV, that is entropy at control volume. So the second law is del SV by del T minus S dot net is greater than or equal to summation of Q dot I by Ti for control volume, or with the net rate of flow of entropy equal to the inlet minus the outlet contributions. So del T of SCV minus S dot in plus S dot out is greater than or equal to summation of Q dot I by Ti of control volume. Now the same equation can be written in different forms. So the change in entropy within the control volume is given as del T of SCV is equal to del T of integral of rho S dV. Rho dV is the small mass we have considered, and small is the entropy per unit mass. So we can write del T of SCV is equal to del T of integral of rho S dV. The fluid element carries entropy across each boundary element. So the transported entropy is the mass flow rate in given equations multiplied by the entropy per unit mass, or ds dot is simply equal to small s dm dot, where dm dot is the rate of small mass So we can write d capital S dot, that is rate of change, rate of total entropy is equal to small s into dm dot. The integral over the inlet and outlet boundaries are S dot in is equal to integral of A in, that is in a entropy entering into the control volume. So we can write S dot in equal to integral of small s dm dot, and S dot out is equal to integral of small dm dot. Thus the net transport is S dot net is equal to integral A in S dm dot minus integral A out S dm dot. The control volume form of the second law is given as del t of integral rho s dv minus integral of S dm dot at inlet plus integral S dm dot at outlet is greater than or equal to summation of q dot I divided by Ti of Cv. So here q dot I we have considered for the ith reservoir. Next equation is del t of integral Cv rho s dv minus summation in integral S dm dot at inlet plus summation out integral S dm dot at outlet is greater than summation of q dot I divided by Ti of control volume. The equivalent expression corresponding to equation given from using the entropy generation concept, that is S dot generation, is equal to S dot gen is equal to del det integral rho s dv minus integral S dm dot at inlet plus integral S dm dot at outlet minus summation of q dot I divided by Ti of control volume is greater than or equal to 0. This is the expression for the entropy generations. For the case of no mass transport into or out of the control volume, these expressions are d dt of integral rho s dv is equal to ds cv by dt greater than or equal to summation of q dot I by Ti Cv, and S dot generation is equal to d dt of integral rho s dv minus summation of q dot I divided by Ti of control volume greater than or equal to 0. These are the same expressions for the control mass form of the second law if the system is isolated, so that there are no interactions with surroundings. The heat transfer is 0, and d dt of integral rho s dv is equal to ds cv by dt greater than or equal to 0. S dot generation is equal to d dt of integral rho s dv is greater than or equal to 0. The same expressions we have got for the control mass formulation, because when you think that there is no mass entering into the control volume and no mass going out from the control volume, so the final expression for that control volume will be same as the final expressions we have got for the control volume while considering the second law of thermodynamics for control mass formulation. Now we will discuss about isentropic process. An isentropic process is a constant entropy process. If the isentropic process is reversible, it must be adiabatic. But if the process is adiabatic and reversible, it must be isentropic. Now let us discuss about the Gibbs equation for an ideal gas. Gibbs equation for an ideal gas, change in entropy, that is S2 minus S1, is equal to integral Cv dt by d plus r log v2 by v1. Here we are considering the natural logarithm, we call it ln. The other equations for the Gibbs equation for an ideal gas is S2 minus S1 is equal to integral Cp dt by t minus R ln P2 by P1. Here Cv is the specific heat at constant volume, while Cp is known as specific heat at constant pressure. Now we will see what will be the expressions for isentropic process for the Gibbs equations which are given in these two equations. For an isentropic process, S2 minus S1 is 0, because for an isentropic process we know that net change in entropy from the state 1 to state 2 is equal to 0. So the Gibbs equation for an ideal gas gives 0 is equal to integral Cv dt by t plus R ln V2 by V1. Second equation becomes 0 equal to integral Cp dt by t minus R ln P2 by P1. The constant specific heat equations are 0 is equal to Cv ln T2 by T1 plus R ln V2 by V1. So here we are considering the specific heat at constant volume. Cv is constant. So if you take out, then we can perform the integral for the remaining part. For the second equation, so we get 0 is equal to Cp ln T2 by T1 minus R ln P2 by P1. Dividing the specific heats of each expressions, we get T2 by T1 is equal to V2 by V1 whole to the power minus R by Cv. This equations we can write equal to as V1 by V2 to the power R divided by Cv. For the second equations, we get T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 to the power R by Cp. Now R is the gas constant that we know that R is equal to Cp minus Cv. So finally we can get the expression as K is equal to Cp by Cv, which we can also write Cp minus Cv is equal to R, and R by Cv we get K minus R1, and R by Cp we can get equal to K minus 1 whole divided by K. Finally we get for an ideal gas T2 by T1 is equal to V1 by V2 whole to the power K minus 1, and T2 by T1 equal to P2 by P1 whole divided by K minus 1 divided by K. These two are very important equations, and these equations are for isentropic process for an ideal gas, and these two equations we will be using so many times in our later course of discussion. Similarly, we can get relation between pressure and volume. P2 by P1 is equal to V1 by V2 to the power K, where K is the ratio of specific heat at constant pressure by specific heat at constant volume. So we can write K is equal to Cp divided by Cv. Now we will discuss about the component efficiency. Turbine efficiency can be defined as the ratio of actual work WA and isentropic work WS. We can write the turbine efficiency as eta T is equal to WA divided by WS. So these are known as the component efficiency, and we are discussing the turbine efficiency. We can write in terms of enthalpy as eta T, that is turbine efficiency, equal to H in minus H out for actual divided by H in minus H out for isentropic process. H means enthalpy. So H in means enthalpy at inlet of the turbine, and H out is the enthalpy for the outlet of the turbine. Now this is the TS diagram and HS diagram, how to calculate the component efficiency, that is the turbine efficiency. So turbine efficiency is equal to WA divided by WS. We can write turbine efficiency in terms of the enthalpy. So turbine efficiency is equal to H in minus H out at actual divided by H in minus H out for isentropic process. Now the point 1 is the state 1, that is the entry point of the turbine. Now H out for the isentropic process at the end of the process, that is state 2 for the turbine outlet. This we can get for actual process as well as the isentropic process. For isentropic process, it is obviously vertical for TS diagram, because for TS diagram there is no change in entropy for the isentropic process. So the line will be vertical, but dotted line is the process for the actual process. But one thing you have to remember, that the end point will be at same pressure. Now for HS diagram, for isentropic process there is no change in entropy. So vertical line, the solid vertical line is showing the entry point and exit point for the same pressure. And for the actual process, it will be on the same line for the constant pressure at the outlet, but the dotted line will show that this process is for actual process. So once you know the enthalpy at the inlet, and if you know the enthalpy at the outlet for the isentropic process, for the actual process, and if you put the enthalpy values for inlet outlet for actual process, for inlet outlet for the isentropic process, then we can calculate the turbine efficiency, and this efficiency is known as the component efficiency. Now compressor efficiency can be defined as the ratio of isentropic work and the actual work. Similarly, the compressor efficiency, you can write eta C, that is efficiency of the compressor, is equal to Ws by Wa. We can write efficiency in terms of enthalpy as compressor efficiency is equal to H in minus H out for isentropic process divided by H in minus H out for actual process. So why it is just reverse of turbine efficiency? Just look at the PV and TS diagram, then it will be crystal clear to you. You see that in is the starting point for the compressor. What is going on? The final pressure will be high, but for the turbine, for final pressure at the exit of the turbine will be low. So in this case, H in is on the higher pressure line, and at the H in should be at the lower pressure line. So H out is at the higher pressure line. For isentropic it is vertical, and for the actual process that is shown at the dotted line. So component efficiency for turbine compressor is eta C is equal to H in minus H out isentropic process whole divided by H in minus H out for actual process. Component efficiency for pump. For pump, the expressions will be little bit different. The fluid flowing through the pump is considered as incompressible, means the volume is constant. Hence, the work done by the pump can be expressed as Ws equal to integral of Vdp. So since V is constant, so you can take out of the integral term. So final expression for the work done for isentropic process for pump is equal to V within bracket P2 minus P1. Similarly, for the pump efficiency, you can write eta C is equal to Ws by Wa. We can write the pump efficiency as eta say is equal to V within bracket P2 minus P1 whole divided by Wa, where Wa is the actual work done by the pump onto the system. Entropy we have discussed in detail so far, so we can quickly tell that, or we can quickly summarize that entropy is a term coined by Rudolf Clausius in the 19th century. Clausius was convinced of the significance of the ratio of heat delivered and the temperature at which it is delivered, that is Q by T. Entropy can be thought of as a measure of the randomness of a system. It is related to the various modes of motion in molecules. For a process occurring at a constant temperature, an isothermal process, del S is equal to Q reversible by T. Q reversible means the heat that is transferred when the process is carried out reversibly at a constant temperature, and T the temperature expressed in Kelvin. The second law of thermodynamics, the entropy of the universe does not change for reversible process and increases for spontaneous process. So for a reversible or ideal process, change in entropy for the system plus change in entropy for the surrounding for an isolated process is 0. For irreversible process, for an isolated system, change in entropy for the system plus change in entropy for surrounding is greater than 0. Entropy on molecular state implications: more particles, more states, more entropy. Higher temperature, more energy states, more entropy. Less structure, more states, more entropy. The entropy of the universe increases for real spontaneous processes, but entropy can decrease for individual systems. Entropy change in the universe. The universe is composed of system and surroundings. Delta S universe is equal to delta S system for plus delta S surroundings is greater than or equal to 0 for an isolated system, but for irreversible process delta S universe is greater than 0. Now let us quickly summarize our discussions. We have discussed the concept of control volume, discussed the control volume formulations for the second law. We have discussed the concept of entropy generations in control volume. We have discussed the component efficiency of turbine and compressors, etc. Lastly, we have discussed the concept of entropy change for an isolated systems. So, dear learners, thank you very much for today's discussions. So, in the next discussions, we will come with new topics on thermodynamics. Thank you very much.